of Little Gemstones, it's Afira, and today I'll be reading Swallow Your Pride by Quarantine Vibes. Chapter 5. Come in, Sir Hisselot. I feel dumb, Roman said, trying to adjust his red bow tie as best he could. You mean you feel fancy, Remus said, flicking a green bow tie of his own. One and the same in this case, Roman grumbled. Semantics, Remus said with a grin, and Roman scoffed. Remus put a hand on his shoulder, black sleeve on Roman's white jacket, expression strangely serious for a moment. Seriously though, Ro, if you don't want to do this, we don't have to. Just because you're a part of Thomas doesn't mean you don't have the right to your own privacy. You don't have to show him. Roman blinked at him. When Remus had first suggested the idea of an art gallery as a way to show the others, Roman had vehemently refused, because A, Roman may have been ego, but hosting his own art gallery bonanza felt just over the pretentious mark, and B, he didn't want to admit it, but despite the content, he was actually pretty proud of some of the work in terms of artistic technique. Even though he had harshly critiqued them himself, he wasn't sure how he could handle a similar critique from his friends, or, worse, Thomas. But then, Remus had assured him that he'd ease them into it with a few pieces he himself had created, and that they could stop whenever Roman wanted. Remus then flew around for the next hour, shooing everyone besides he and Roman out, and setting up boards and tables and frames. Half the room was painted a tasteful off-white, and covered in a pale gold curtain, where Roman's works from the past weeks laid. The other half was painted black, and was where Remus set up his own work, as well as some of Roman's old pieces. No, Roman pulled at the curtain, fingers twitching slightly. It's okay. Let's do this. Might as well get everything out in the open now. Remus beamed at him. Brilliant! Just leave everything to your trusty big brother, he said with a wink and pointed to himself. Roman rolled his eyes. You're really stuck on that concept, aren't you? What concept? That you're older? But I am. No, you're not. Am too. We're twins. I'm the older twin. What, by like a few seconds? More like... Remus tapped his chin. What sounds good? A year and a half? Yeah, let's go a year and a half. That doesn't make sense. Don't take that tone with me. I have a year and a half on you, you fetus. You just made that up. Prove it. Ugh, Roman yelled, pulling Remus's bow tie so that it untangled and fell at his feet. Remus yelped in offense. He was balancing a model of a cat vertebrae stabbed inside a jar of dirt. He attempted to retie his bow tie with one hand and set the model down with the other. You're lucky I have the saint-like patience that befits the older sibling, Remus said when he was done. Roman bit his tongue to keep from starting another shouting match, and instead watched Remus work. He helped to put up some of his pieces, surprised to see that Remus had much more writing when compared to Roman. Some were snippets of stories, some were poetry paired with sculptures. Roman leaned down to read the plaque next to a sculpture of a person whose teeth were made of reflective glass. Pretty, shiny mirror teeth. Line them up and keep them neat. Silver, copper, mercury, your mirror teeth have sprung a leak. Roman shuddered. Like most of Remus's creations, Roman couldn't help but feel slightly on edge, but when he thought past the initial shiver, he couldn't help but think. Remus's art was graphic, sure, disturbing sometimes even, but it made people feel something. And, as he looked at the sharp angles of the sculpture, the way Remus had textured the skin so that he could even see the small pores in the person's face, Roman found another word to describe it. Incredible. Showtime's almost here, Ro. You ready? Roman tore his eyes away from the sculpture and nodded at his brother. Ready. Remus grinned and snapped. A small walkie-talkie appeared in his hand. Octoboss to Sir Hisselot. Octoboss to Sir Hisselot. Come in, Sir Hisselot. A few moments of static. Then, from the other side of the device, must we do the nicknames, Remus? Sorry, I don't know a Remus. The static increased as the side at the other end groaned loudly. Must we do the nicknames? A sigh. Octoboss? Yes, Remus cheered. It adds to the atmosphere. Unless you want to add another month of dish duty to your sentence. Roman snorted. Janus had felt exceedingly guilty about the incident earlier, and while Roman still wasn't quite over what had happened, it was hard to stay mad at someone who was groveling. Plus, Remus had punched him, and, from experience, Roman knew those punches weren't fun, even at a fraction of his normal strength. Perhaps they both had things to apologize for, and they'd have that difficult conversation later. For now, Roman had settled on sentencing Janus to 3 months of doing his chores. Roman had told him to put those gloves of his to use, and Janus's reaction had been strangely satisfying. No. Well then. Janus coughed lightly from his end. The Riveter, Purple Nurple, Guys and Ties, and the Guest of Honor are all ready. Should we appear in the Mind Palace now? How's the Guest of Honor? Remus asked. Confused, but excited, just as you requested. Fantastic, Remus said. Come on down. A spotlight shone down in the middle of the room, and in it appeared Janus, Patton, Virgil, and Logan, all dressed in assorted thematic attire. Janus had added a small yellow feather to his hat and had chosen a longer cape and plaid copper trousers. Patton wore a blue-checked, high-waisted pant with a slightly cropped tan blazer and a tucked-in white shirt accompanied with a tiny hat that Roman had only ever seen British ladies wear to special events. Logan donned a black vest and dark blue satin button-down shirt, his blue tie swapped out for a tasteful silver one. Even Virgil had forgone his normal hoodie in favor of a long, dark purple trench coat, a one-piece black romper with a deep V-neck and tightly woven fishnet stockings. Roman felt his face flame and his heart melt a little. He couldn't believe everyone would get so dressed up for this. For him. Thomas peeked up from behind the 4 of them, not looking nearly as fancy since he didn't have the ability to simply imagine on new clothes, but wearing a gold-trim, short-sleeved mauve button-down and his best pair of jeans. Welcome, all ye bastards, Remus boomed, and the spotlight flew to him, to the first annual Creativitwin Art Extravaganza. Patton and Thomas whooped as the others clapped. Here you shall see, he swept his arm, the dichotomy of 2 brothers, the intrigue and mystery of creativity in all its forms, and, he gestured towards the curtains, as the grand finale, emotion given life, he bowed. Enjoy. More cheers from the crowd. Roman clapped, laughing at Remus's ridiculous display, but also caught up in the excitement. Everyone wandered around the room, taking in the pieces. Roman caught Virgil using Remus's mirror sculpture to check between his teeth, but Roman was more focused on one person. These are all amazing, you two, Thomas exclaimed, twirling around the room as if he were trying to take a personal panorama shot. He stopped at where Remus had fashioned a dead squid out of tweed and spare pieces of hay. A bit gruesome at some points, but still awesome. Remus's face practically, and almost literally, split apart at the praise. Roman made a mental note to make Remus show Thomas his creations more often, at times that weren't when Thomas was trying to sleep. Maybe then Thomas would appreciate them more. Is this me? Logan asked, pointing at a painting that Roman had done months before. Roman trotted over. It was Logan, spooning jam from a jar that read Logan's Berry. Roman remembered that painting. He had been disappointed at first that he didn't get his own jam, but seeing his normally stoic friend so excited had inspired him to create the portrait. Other than the jar and the metallic spoon, the rest of the piece was made in abstract shapes of color. 2 framed black squares for Logan's glasses, a blue diamond for his tie. Roman glanced at Logan, whose hand was hovering over the rendered jar. Do you want it? Roman asked. Logan jumped back. What? That... Logan started and pursed his lips. I'm ashamed to say that I don't have much knowledge about art, though. Roman hummed. Does this piece make you feel something? He asked. Logan tilted his head in thought for a moment before nodding. Roman grinned and snapped his fingers. A small plaque under the piece titled Property of Logan appeared. Then that's enough. It's yours. The rest of the evening was spent showing the others art, gifting a few pieces. Patton had seemed strangely taken with one of Remus's metallic crows. Virgil kept a holographic drawing of the rabbit from Alice in Wonderland that Roman had put together, and chatting. Roman was just finishing showing Thomas a wall of seashells he had done when Thomas piped up. These are great, Roman. Really. But, he shifted uncomfortably. We're not just distracting from what happened earlier, right? Roman blinked. Because, Thomas waved his hands in front of him. Because if that's what this is, that's fine. I mean, I love looking at your creations, but he kicked at the ground. We do need to talk about what happened. Address some of the things you said, because... Actually, Thomas, Roman said, nudging Thomas's rapidly bouncing foot, that is why we're doing this. He nodded at the curtained wall. For the past few weeks, I've been not feeling the greatest. Thomas frowned. Yeah, I get what you mean. That caught Roman off guard. You do? Thomas nodded. The wedding? The callback? Trying to think of video ideas without washing out? It's been pretty rough. He frowned at himself again. I should have known that you'd been taking it the hardest, though. Roman gaped. Sometimes, silly as it sounded, he forgot that he was a part of Thomas. So, Roman said, feeling more confident now. So, I've been creating some things. Some things that may seem, he coughed, unusual? For me, I guess. Oh? Roman nodded. Then, before he could chicken out, signaled his brother. Remus caught his eye and nodded. Listen up, cowards and fools, Remus boomed. Roman wondered where he had gotten his material from. It's time for the main event. Roman stood at the side of the curtain with his brother, still feeling a little shy, but gratified that the others seemed actually expectant as they waited for the curtain to fall. From the depths of my little brother's mind, he started. Wait, Remus is older? Thomas asked. He's not, Roman protested. By a year and a half, Remus said, continuing, I present to you the Pride in Flames collection. The curtain dropped. Roman wasn't sure what he was expecting, but the audible gasp made him tense up. Roman peeked open an eye. Bathed in the dim fluorescent, Roman's works looked even more vivid than usual, seeming to emit a light all on their own. A man held together by strings and veins seemed to dance in his easel. The pieces with blood glistened, defying gravity by staying suspended in their paintings. Remus had gotten rid of most of the charring, somehow using a combination of framing and lighting to restore the pieces. Roman passed his face from side to side. Janus seemed to go from piece to piece, slowly analyzing each stroke before moving on to the next one. Patton's eyes flitted from board to board, never staying on one for too long. Logan rubbed at his chin, getting captured by one particular piece and staring at it for a few minutes without moving away. Virgil's lips were slightly parted, an appreciative hum emanating as his eyes took in the works as a whole, and Thomas burst into tears. Thank you all so much for listening. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and if you like what you hear and you want to read more, you can find the link to the fic and the author in the description. If you want to check out other podfics I've done, you can click on the playlist linked on the screen. See you next time!